Thank you very much. It's really an honor to be here and to have an opportunity to discuss this important topic in front of you. And it's glad to meet you in vivo, those of you with whom I communicated online. But I want to thank this unknown person to me, actually, who did who proposed that this topic enters this respective conference, because when I received the invitation, I was like, whoa. So whoever was it, I'm really very grateful for that. And I will tell you why. Why is that a reason? Well, 5 years ago, actually, it's not only 25 years of ICC, but also 5 years of my book, which came as a result of my PhD research at Max Planck Institute in Freiburg. I actually placed a title on it, Prosecuting Serious Economic Crimes as International Crimes, a new mandate for the ICC. Well, in my opinion, and thank you for your presentation as well, when you mentioned poverty and economic reasons for child soldiers, well, this topic has the same background. Like, why do we really need to prosecute serious economic crimes in front of ICC? Come on, we have such serious crimes in front of ICC. Why are we talking business here, or business crimes? Why do we need ICC for that? I will try to give you my reasons in this time frame. In the article, you will have it more. So discussion points which I would like to present here and for you to reflect afterwards is whether serious economic offenses should be qualified as crimes under international criminal law, and of course under which threshold. It's quite clear that ICC deals with the gravest crimes. Well, if yes, what should be that economic offense? Because it's a broader notion. Well, as we are lawyers, we have to find not just emotional or shocking the conscience of mankind argument for international criminalization, which is not used that anymore so much, but actually it's definitely used with other legal arguments. So how to address it? What should be the legal background? How to use it? Well, I don't think that nobody can dispute today that serious economic crimes do violate all human rights. As we heard 3 days ago, and I put it in the title, not 3 days ago, but a couple of days ago before I sent the presentation, there is more and more calls in every conflict, and now in Ukraine as well, that I don't know what will happen with that, but President Zelensky proposes to equate corruption with treason during wartime. Well, when we are talking about grand corruption in general, it's quite clear that it's not only African problem or Southeastern European problem or whatever problem. So grand corruption definitely affects us all and definitely leads to, undisputed today, different kinds of international or domestic conflicts. And especially coming from Croatia, which experienced war in the same time as it transforms itself, and in the same time while doing privatization and ownership transformation, I think that this statement, which was given in many NGO and different reports, is that Ukraine is fighting a two-front war, one against an external enemy and the other against internal one, and it needs to win both wars. Why is that? Because usually when we are having large-scale corruption or economic crimes while experiencing conflict, it really does not bring to transitional justice issue of building the state and rule of law. And if we neglect economic reasons or large-scale corruption, which has a clear, of course, consequences, then we are having more and more problems. And when we think that ICC should deal with crimes that threaten peace, security, and well-being of the world, I must say that I was shocked when using that word, that only in 2018, for the first time, Security Council recognized, I mean, I'm talking about 2018, again, emphasizing for somebody coming from Croatia, it's a little bit too, I mean, it's better ever than ever, of course. Then it was recognized that corruption, serious one, threatens maintaining of world peace and security. So ICC has a mandate for it. Congo, unfortunately, Congo is among one of the richest countries when we are talking about natural resources. It also reflects many countries. Bosnia has also natural resources throughout history. That's very interesting to make that comparison, but okay. So how Congo, such a rich country in the resources, and it has whatever we need. If we are developing technology, Congo has it. That's the problem. Diamonds, Congo has it. How come that country is really struggling and it's full of conflict? Okay. Talking about having this moment when we will discuss or maybe change the law, how it was also with Nuremberg trials after the Second World War, I have to also quote, and some of us that were here had also privilege to be in person when we had our IDP conference in front of Pope Francis, who, and I was really happy when I read it all, emphasized detrimental effect of economic crimes, environmental crimes on the environment and committing of different types of crime. Well, if you are talking about development of international law, and especially international criminal law, and if we know today that transitional justice cannot really be maintained without addressing economic crimes and violations of economic, social, and cultural rights, actually, can we achieve a goal of international law and justice if we kind of don't deal with those crimes at the international level, although, as we know, international business is really quite having a lot to do, especially in the conflict area. In the same time, thinking legally, we have to find justification, which I did in Article 21 of the ICC statute, especially when we think and know that application and interpretation of the law, ICC statute, must be consistent with internationally recognized human rights. Human rights are indivisible. There is no generation of rights. They are all on the same ground. So human rights law went ahead, transitional justice went ahead, question of security went ahead. Today it's considered to be the notion of human security, which we saw in COVID pandemics. But in international criminal law stays, it's moving definitely, but stays conservative in this area, which is extremely important. We saw it in Nuremberg trials as well. To repeat law, actually, but yes, and we heard it from the judge in the morning as well. So applicable law is Article 21, and court should apply, of course, its statute elements of the crime. In the second place, where appropriate, of course, applicable treaties, and then failing to these general principles, etc. And all of this has to be consistent, all of it, with internationally recognized human rights. When we are talking about treaties, one treaty that is the widely acceptable, 189 states have ratified it, signed it and ratified it, is definitely UNCAC, UN Convention Against Corruption. So we cannot say, like, not everybody recognizes those crimes, all the crimes that are listed there, which are obligatory for states to transpose. It's recognized. Another legal argument, when we are talking about economic and social rights, to remind a bit of history, especially after the end of Second World War, there was a famous quote from Roosevelt, "Necessitous men are not free men. People who are hungry and out of job are stuff of which dictatorships are made." So actually, when the two covenants were brought, that is a special story at the UN level, one for civil and political rights and the other for economic, social, and cultural rights, kind of we have to give that covenant and that rights also some core, maybe, protection from international criminal law. And from human rights lawyers, maybe it is scholarly activism, but there was a statement from one, I picked one which kind of maybe shows what we did as a world. All domains where state and anti-governmental actions on human rights have failed to achieve anything more than modest success is definitely violations of economic, social, and cultural rights must surely classify as one of most glaring. Well, as I said, transitional justice now definition that came into UN definitely now includes corruption and serious economic crimes and violations of economic and social rights. So on that fields of law and politics, we are covered when we are talking about this topic. Going to some conflicts and truth commissions that were established, for instance, in Liberia, economic factors were underlined one of the most important to maintain long-standing conflicts. I will just read some. Economic actor and economic activities played a crucial role in contributing to and benefiting from armed conflict in Liberia. Of course, corrupt officials, foreign companies, etc. Transitional justice definition now includes, as I said, widespread corruption and political interference and diminishing levels of citizen security and economic opportunity. Myanmar as well. It's quite interesting to see where the Rohingyas were located. Why that area? Economically very, very interesting area for different activities. Going back to Ocampo, prosecutor, especially some statements I took from him, like investigation of the financial aspects of the alleged atrocities will be crucial to prevent future crimes and for the prosecutions of crimes already committed. If the alleged business practices continue to fuel atrocities, that would not be stopped even if current perpetrators were arrested and prosecuted. The exploiting of natural resources, gold, diamonds, oil, just to name a few. Sierra Leone, the same. The devils, again, statement from the prosecutor, the devils we dance with every day are not only the criminal actors being prosecuted, but the peripheral players who have been involved in this decade-old tragedy. These actors include gun runners, diamond dealers, Russian-Ukrainian mafia, other international criminal organizations, terrorists. Taking bloody diamonds, at least we saw movies on it if we didn't know the details. So, Myanmar, what was the root cause? There was also a report on that. So my point is, actually, if we concentrated in international arena on, of course, what we have to do and should continue to do on civil and political rights, we still have conflicts, we still have these reports, we still have truth commissions. Now there are more and more establishing economic factors involvement and contribution to maintaining or causing the conflicts. What should we do with that? And when we come to the notion of human security, I'm just giving you now the reasons for criminalization. Definitely, now I don't think it can be disputed that freedom from fear and want, going back to Roosevelt, is now accepted definitions of human security. Coming back to isms of NGO activisms, already in 2012, set up, this is NGO from Africa, they have petitioned the prosecutor of ICC to investigate whether the widespread and systematic corruption over 6 billion in fuel subsidy schemes impacted of Nigerian amounted to inhuman acts which intentionally caused great suffering to be considered as crimes against humanity as provided in Article 7 of the Rome Statute. Nothing happened with that, definitely, but slowly, we have many and many more discussions or AGO reports, sometimes used politically, of course, as other crimes in front of ICC, of course, like Anti-Corruption Commission files suit against ex-president for crimes against humanity in Ecuador. I was quite happy in 2016 when there was a Office of the Prosecutor policy on choosing which crimes should be put in front of ICC. So we can discuss, maybe it's a political, not only legal decision, definitely. And what was stated there, that the impact of crimes must be assessed in light of, inter alia, the increased vulnerability of victims, the terror subsequently instilled, or the social, economic, and environmental damage inflicted on the affected communities, including the destruction of the environment, the illegal exploitation of natural resources, or the illegal disposition of land. I was like, wow, it will start. I was very happy, especially after really long research on that topic. But what did happen? Now it's very nice that we have gender dimension. I'm not against it, I mean, obviously, but necessary. But did we forget about this, or what is happening? On the other side, a couple of months ago, still in 2022, there was a petition from quite strong umbrella of NGOs to prosecute serious environmental crimes. Of course, it involves businessmen in Brazil for crimes against humanity. So another try to do it, we will see what will happen with that. And we are coming back to Article 7 and discussions, what will happen, who will sign Genocide Convention today, what will be in Articles Convention at the end, not draft, on crimes against humanity. We waited for so long, what is happening, and we all know that dignity is something that we have to protect. But we really do not need, in my opinion, to change ICC statute at all. We have Article 7, and we have and we have provision K, which is open clause to put, of course, if the threshold is met and all these reasons are taken account, other crimes which are considered to be inhuman. Well, after this brief here presentation, but actually extensive research done by myself and many others now, not maybe, there were not too many people doing it, but now I don't think that we can avoid saying that these crimes are really detrimental to all other situations and violations of all human rights that are happening in that area. It's interesting to know what African Union is doing, because African Union, in their articles, you always have corruption there, corruption crimes, money laundering crimes, of course, if they come to a certain level, and many calls that corruption in such scale should be treated as international crime. Think about European Union when we are talking about money. What was among the first crimes that we decided to combat on common ground at European Union? Was it murder? No, it was the protection of financial interests. If you're protecting, and we know that we have to have, okay, on national level, schools, roads, whatever social services, we have to have money to survive, right, and to develop. Why aren't we really taking all these situations and just analyze many of the conflicts and cases and situations in front of ICC and connected with economic factors that contributed or caused situation to occur? Maybe we really have to think what to do. Kulmani case, when there was apartheid ended, you have many judgments from Alien Tort Statute Act in the US, where clearly stated that apartheid regime in South Africa would not have survived without the business support of certain companies, such as IBM, Ford, etc., etc. I'm just, Sanader, well, this is a common between Croatia and Hungary, actually where our former prime minister was convicted for taking bribe from MOL, the CEO. But based on that, we changed our constitution even, and this is an example, that's why Ukraine and this statement just was popping in my head. We even changed our constitution proclaiming that serious economic crimes and war profiteering have no statute of limitation in Croatia based on the report on the gravity that it caused for the Croatian society. I'm just giving you different examples. Corporate responsibility in war crimes, come on. I don't know what happened with that case, but actually Lafarge was sued, was prosecuted. I don't think it ended with a positive outcome yet, of complicity for crimes against humanity in Syria, for instance. Lundin Petroleum, a Swedish company whose top executives are facing prosecution in Sweden for allegedly aiding and abetting war crimes in Sudan. So there are many and many examples in Switzerland as well. Many examples, I'm not saying these are the only cases, of prosecuting businesses or try to prosecute in those legal systems that can prosecute legal persons. ICC cannot do it, but individually, yes. I will end with this. Really, we should rethink, do we want the Nuremberg statement to repeat itself when one of the industrialists said the following: if you want to indict industrialists who helped to rearm Germany, you will have to indict your own too. The Opel Verkehr, for instance, who did nothing but war production, were owned by your General Motors. No, that is no way to go about it. You cannot indict industrialists. Hopefully, this will not end with that. I'm just saying that I was happy to participate in 2019 before COVID at the side event of ICC with the topic, the prosecution of economic and financial crimes, new mandate for the ICC or creation a new international criminal court. And I will end with that, with one remark that there is now big movement to possibly create special court, international anti-corruption court, another international court that will build those topics, and we are not using one that we already have for the gravest crimes. Thank you. Thank you.